Y'all spoke, and I didn't listen. Here's a sequel no one asked for. Shooting film at the fair 2. I love the fair, or at least I think I do. When I think of the fair, I think about the lights, the sounds, the smells, and it fills me with nostalgia. While I'm at the fair though, I'm annoyed by the prices of everything, and I have the stark realization that teenagers are real organic beings. They're walking around in our own flesh. Falling for the "this time will be different" mentality, me and Claire ran back to the Washington State Fair for an evening of fun. We didn't have many goals for this trip. It was mostly strolling around, people watching, and of course photo taking. I also brought the Canon Rebel G with me. Are you guys getting tired of me using this camera? Too bad, I love it. I just bought a second one in fact. As for what lens I'd be using, I was going through my gear recently and I realized I had a Sigma 17-35 f2.8 to f4 aspherical lens. I can't recall how I got this lens. I'm pretty sure my brother donated it to me, but I know for a fact I haven't used it. Interested in the possibilities of what I could capture with an ultra-wide lens, I slammed it onto the Canon Rebel G and slapped a 1/4 Pro Mist filter on it and called it good. So the fair, it's covered in colorful lights on every ride, and every evening it becomes a Technicolor dreamscape. With that in mind, I ended up loading up some black and white film. Shooting black and white film across this last year has really allowed me to capture some really amazing photos, I think. I've shot plenty of SFX and HP5 this year, but I wanted to expand my knowledge on Ilford's portfolio. I ended up loading up some Ilford Delta 400. I've heard it's more of a professional level film stock. Hell, it even says so on the box. I was nervous that this film stock would reject me, finding out that I was actually an amateur, not a professional. But I took my chances anyway. So far, Delta 400, it's really nice. I like it. I will say it's a little more neutral right out of the box. There's not a lot of embedded contrast. That being said, this film can come off a little flat, but I added a little bit of contrast in post to kind of fit with my work more stylistically. As well, for 400 ISO film, the grain is present but not distracting. It's actually very complementary to the scenes. It's pleasant without being distracting. Have you ever been too eager with a shutter and fired away blindly? Sometimes the first shot you take isn't the best. This is an example of that. I took this first photo because I thought it would be interesting, but after waiting just a half second later, I realized if I just waited, I would have had the better photo right away. I'm not saying that this is the perfect composition, just that the second photo, it looks a little better than the first. I finished up the roll of Delta 400 and I switched over to some Cinestill 800T, but rated it at ISO 500. I like to treat this film stock like it's Vision 500T. It's basically 500T minus a remjet layer, but you already knew that. As well, shooting it at 500 ISO gives you a slight push in development, making sure your photos don't come out underexposed. Also, I wish we had more tungsten bounce films. I know it would be a specialty film stock, but it would open up more doors for experimentation, which is my favorite thing to do with film photography. For now though, Cinestill 800T will have to do. As I was scanning this film, I noticed the problem with this ultra-wide lens, but maybe it's actually more so with my camera body. The Canon Rebel G is a consumer camera. They didn't come with all the bells and whistles and the features that come with the prosumer and the professional level cameras of the time. So when shooting with this ultra-wide angle lens in low light, I think the meter struggled to give me an accurate reading of the whole scene. That or this camera's meter is extremely center weighted. If that's the case, it's probably just metering for the highlights and the shadows are kind of falling off more so than I would have liked. It's upsetting when things like this happen, but if you remember the limitations of both your camera and your film stock, it'll end up making you a better photographer in the end. If you're not wasting shots or screwing up, are you even progressing? Okay, back to the lens. It's super fun, but the build quality ain't that great. It's super chunky and just not that nice to use. It just feels cheap. Sorry Sigma, this wasn't the one. But I know you're killing it now. Having the options for 17mm, 20mm, 24mm, 28mm, and 35mm all in one lens though is super convenient. It's quite nice actually. For a long time, I've stayed with prime lenses just because I've liked the image quality out of them. But some of these zoom lenses, they're kind of becoming more convenient, I feel.
We're at the fair.
It's so convenient to have one lens that covers multiple aspect ratios, especially when traveling, because then you're not weighed down by multiple lenses and a lot of gear. This Sigma though, it's not it. The glass isn't the sharpest, the corners are pretty soft, and just the experience of using this lens, it's not for me. Also, the variable max aperture that switches between focal lengths, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. However, I think there is a solid alternative to this lens, and I think I have to pick it up sooner than later. Who am I kidding? I already bought it, and I love it. As for the fair, it's still fun. I love my annual dose of loud music, barnyard smells, overpriced drinks, and flashing lights. Wait, are fairs just raves for normies?